How can you possibly rank on Google for your website? It's all about SEO, search engine optimization. Meet Kim Rittberg, a 6-time award-winning marketer dedicated to helping you become a thought leader through video to get more leads and make more money. Why is she talking about herself in the third person? Not entirely sure. I spoke with Neil Patel, a top 10 marketer ranked by Forbes, and he tells us all about how you can get more visibility and higher ranking on Google through SEO. Yeah, I love that. Okay, speaking of personal brand, what are your thoughts on the most effective way to build a personal brand?
You do a ton of stuff to get your name out there, and you do it consistently for at least 3 years. All right, so when I say do a ton of stuff, speak at events, post content on social daily on at least 6.6 social networks. According to Demand Sage, the average person uses 6.6 social networks. So I would round down and not up because there's just too many networks. But you can repurpose the same content. Like we take our most popular content from Twitter, I read it word for word, turn it into a short form video, and I post it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, right? So then I already got Twitter. That was the main one. And then I take the most popular piece of content and I do 5 more on all the other social networks. And we repurpose the same thing, so it doesn't take that much time. I'm reading it word for word, just read off a teleprompter. The strategies worked out quite well. So if you take all the social media content you're posting, you speak at events, you respond to people, help them out when they leave a comment or a direct message. Ideally, create a podcast as well, because I think it's a wide open playing field. There's roughly 4 million podcasts and over 1 billion blogs. When you think about it, it's not as saturated. According to Salesforce, the average person that reads listens to a podcast has a household income of around above 70,000. I don't know the exact set, but I do know it's above 70,000 in the United States. So if you start leveraging all these channels, they can help a lot to just generate a ton of business for you in the long run.
Yeah. So I teach business owners about how to make content. And in the past, I worked in media and I had a big team. You have a big company, the companies you work with that bring you on get a lot of support. For independent people, whether they're a solopreneur or maybe they're bringing on freelancers or they're a small team, what do you recommend for that consistency? What does that look like for smaller groups?
It's actually really easy. So even though we have a ton of employees, we have one contractor that helps us with our social media marketing, and they're part-time. All right, so check this out. I come up with my own content that I want to post on Twitter. I take the ones that are the most popular. I pay someone who comes a few times a month, local person, bust out their phone, record you. They'll edit the videos, and then you just pop them up on social media. You can even have them do it. You can get it done for very little money. It shouldn't even cost more than $1,000 a month. Or you can just record the video yourself. You don't have to edit it that much. If any, just post it as is.
What about engagement? I even think, let's say, because I totally agree with you in terms of batching. Let's say you sit down, you film for an hour or two, you do one podcast, you do 4 YouTube videos. The YouTube videos can be cut into shorter content. Those can all be turned into blogs, SEO blogs, newsletter, whatever, everything, podcast, I still think there is that element. A lot of the social platforms also want you to engage and they reward engagement. So let's say you even can batch 4 hours one day, 4 hours another day, filming, writing, whatever. Someone else is doing the other work, right? But there's still that element of engaging. So what about that? How do you balance that?
I just engage whenever I have time throughout the day. So instead of watching TV, just bust up my phone and respond to people.
You're not doing it yourself. You have a team helping with the engagement on it. It's not like you're not all doing it yourself.
No. I actually bust out my phone and I respond to comments myself.
Wow. I'm always when I hear that, I'm like, really?
I don't like it when my team responds as me. It really irritates me. And the main reason is not because I don't love the team, not because I don't want to save the time. The responses aren't always as helpful as if I was doing it. I'm not saying my team's not capable or they're not smart. They're smarter than me in many different aspects. But if I'm going to respond and give someone advice, I don't want it crap advice. And I've been doing this longer than the person I'm going to pay to respond to the comments. If I get someone who's really knowledgeable, they're not going to want to do it as a living. and I want to give people really good responses, so I just do it myself.
Wow, I'm like taking that in. That's cool. Great. Now everybody respond and follow Neil, and that way you're getting to hear back from him, asking him your questions. I need to jump into SEO. So I read your newsletter, I watch your videos. Like, you are brilliant. I would love to know. We were just talking about social media. So businesses feel pressured and they're stretched to put time and money into social media. Every business feels that. But they also, I mean, smart businesses are also aware of the value of SEO. Like, I come from video and TV. I wasn't an SEO expert, but I did the training classes. I focused a lot on like metadata and SEO for our videos on the back end because I understood the value and importance of it. But talk to me about, like, from your perspective on SEO, why is SEO so much more valuable than other things?
So the number one search engine in the world is Google. The number two search engine in the world is YouTube. According to Google VP, when young people are starting to do a search for a place to eat or a place to go, a lot of times they're turning to TikTok and Instagram to search. These social networks, these platforms are all super popular. To give you a rough idea, around 8.5 billion with the B searches happen per day on Google alone. So it just shows you the power of search. Majority of the people don't click on paid ads, less than a few percentage points. Majority of the people are clicking nowhere, or they're clicking on the organic listings.
And Google doesn't always, like, now I'm noticing over the past however long, Instagram is feeding into Google. I'm seeing, like, I'm getting Google alerts on my own Instagram posts. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's happened over the past year. But you're saying not even all the social media comes up on it, right? Like, TikTok might not surface, depending what platform you're on. LinkedIn, your LinkedIn post might not surface. Cause I've noticed that I keep Google alerts on my own name. And I thought that's really interesting. So I love the point of SEO is, like, you own it, it's your own traffic, it's organic. And I had someone come in actually into Instagram, like a possible lead, saying they found me through SEO. They said they were Googling what is B-roll, and they landed on my blog that I wrote, and I embedded an Instagram video that I made. Like, to your point, I do it myself. And I think it's super, super important because I tell everybody I'm such an advocate of social media because I think it's very authentic and engaging in the way a blog can't be. Like, it just, especially in service-based industries, 100% someone's going to work with you because you're you. You have to be showing up with your voice on a podcast, with your face on a video. But I love that you raise the point of, like, I always call it, like, squeezing all the juice out of the orange. Like, you're already taking the time to think of something super smart to talk about in a YouTube video. Turn that into Twitter, turn that into a blog, put it on TikTok. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. But I like the idea that SEO does a different thing almost because it surfaces you in the other way, where the other ones, you're really trying to pull people. Like, you have to be a magnet, and the other ones kind of works in the background.
It just drives so much revenue. Like, to give you an idea, when we hit the Inc. 5,000 list of the fastest growing companies in the United States, we landed on the list the first time we were on there at number 21. A lot of it was driven because of SEO.
Wow.
Now, being on the Inc. list didn't do crap for the business. 21. And then I didn't know you. They start charging you if you want the awards and stuff like that. I'm like, it's okay. I don't want the awards. You guys can have it.
So I put, I think you could say I put my trophies in the background. When I got the
I like
bill,
them.
I was like, $450 for this trophy? It's not made of gold. But I do
Yeah.
have it. I'm all about visual communication, so I need the trophy.
No, I like the awards. It was just too much for us. I didn't want to spend the money on the English. And it was number 21. I was like, it's not even the top 10 or top 20. I'm like, it's 21. This number's only useful if I want to play blackjack. Other than that, what am I going to do with number 21?
It's the opposite of what I tell my kids. I'm like, seventh place is great. It's not the last.
I'm just like, to me, I look at that as I lost. So I was like, it's fine.
What do you talk about? SEO, while I truly am such a believer, as you can tell, I'm like, I'm really such a believer in it. SEO takes longer to farm, to blossom. You plant the seeds, it takes a while to come, whereas social media is more instantaneous. Like, when
Not
someone did,
necessarily.
oh,
It takes years to build up your social profiles and to get it going. SEO, same thing. It takes years. You can see results in social media in the first 3 to 6 months. You can see results in SEO in the first 3 to 6 months. You're not going to like what you get when you're starting off from scratch in either channel, whether it's social or SEO in the first, 6 months. But it's compounding results. You do it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to be way better off than you were in the first year. Because not only do you have to build up the following in social, You got to figure out how to create the right content. Once you do and you're getting the engagement, you got to figure out how to convert those people into customers, because followers that don't create any revenue, it's almost useless. And the same goes with SEO. It just takes time to get the results. You get the traffic, then you got to figure out how to convert them and have all the lead capture forms and do conversion optimization. But it's the same stuff. Anything in marketing these days, other than paid ads, takes a while. Even paid ads. When we go and work with companies, even if they're big and they're spending like $10 million a month or $50 million a month, which is really rare, but let's call it $10 million a month, which is a big corporation. Even if they have existing campaigns, when things are wrong, you got to fix it and change it all. It takes months to really get it going and to get it more fine tuned versus where it's at. Campaigns in the first, if you want to do paid ads, they don't work out the way you want in the first day or week or even month. It takes longer than that. And even with all the AI and technology, it takes some time to learn, which also takes time. Like let's say if you're using Google Performance Max.
That's super interesting. I worked with a lawyer who I taught her how to make content and video for social media. And her content went from like being like, not to slag her, but like a D to like, an A minus, B plus, whatever. Showing up and really teaching and showing up as herself. She then put money behind her content, as a paid ad, but it's, pushing to the
Yeah.
boosting her organic content. She got clients from that. And so I thought that was interesting, is that it can happen sooner. It generally happens in a longer time. It can happen sooner, but I think that's a really interesting point. Thank you for sharing that about the 3 to 6 months, because I do think of SEO as being a longer term, but you're right. Social takes longer too. That's the truth.
It
Um,
does. And even with the lawyer, she spent money to boost the content, right? She spent ad
totally,
money to get results quicker, which you can
totally.
do. And same with SEO. You can just buy the ads on Google. You'll get results,
Yeah.
fast.
Okay, I have one or two more SEO questions, and then I want to jump into some Neil, the business person, and the parent. You have kids, right?
Yeah.
That's what Google told me. I used it. I used that Google, that thing that we're talking about. For people who don't have millions and millions of dollars to spend on SEO, what do you recommend them starting with? What are the first things they should do?
Sure. So if you go to neilpatel.com/SEO dash analyzer, you can put in your URL and it'll tell you what to fix in order from first to last. And it'll prioritize it based on what's the easiest to fix and what's going to produce the best results. It looks at those two things, right? So that's a great way to start, and it's free. And then the next thing I would do is start creating content. You can use a lot of tools out there like Uber Suggests, which will give you keyword ideas, or you can use Answer the Public, which we own. Or you can even use ChatGPT and ask some questions like on keyword research. And you can say like, hey, I want to write an article about X, Y, and Z. What are some keywords that are informational and transactional? Because there's different types of keywords that you would recommend that I include within my content. And it'll also give you a lot more keyword ideas.
I love that. And everyone's talking about AI with SEO. What do you recommend people not use AI for when doing SEO? Like, it can get you the beginning steps, and then at what point should you say put down the Chat GPT and get your hands on your keyboard?
Stop writing a lot of the content using AI. Technically, you're not writing it if you're using AI, but we find majority of marketers use AI to write their content. We found when we ran an experiment, roughly 94.12% of the time, human written content outranked AI content. But yet, people want to create more AI content when human written content is ranking higher and driving more traffic by far.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I do feel like there's a point at which people need to hear from a person. So I love that you're backing up with data. Thank you.